I've got the spores, the sickness. There's the twins in my brain.
What a time to be a cycling fan. Everywhere you watch, there are races on screen. From France to Oman, the peloton is preparing themselves for the big targets later this season. Wout van Aert wrote history with his earliest season opener ever. Remco Evenepoel casually demolished the opposition in Portugal. Don't forget, we're only February. And you haven't even talked about the mudfest in Clásica Jáen. We can review a lot, but previewing what's happening this week is as important. A lot to talk about. Let's dive right into it. For today's episode, I'm joined by Ethan. Hi, Ethan. How are you?
Hello. It's a pleasure to be back again today. It was a very fun weekend of cycling. I enjoyed it, specifically Saturday. Domestique Live was hectic, very hectic. And then all the other races tweeting at the same time was quite fun.
I heard you had a lot of fun watching Tour of Colombia earlier this week as well. How attractive was that race? And more importantly, how legendary was the lad on the comms?
The race, in my opinion, it was world tour level, really. The passion from the fans, the racing was just non-stop. But yeah, that commentator, poof, I think what's his name? I don't know what his name is, but he works for ESPN, I think, and he just started singing during the sprint. I was like, what?
Yeah,
And then
I remember watching one stage, the one that Osorio won, if I recall correctly, and that guy on the comms just went loco. It was insane.
he's just going 9-0 man, 9-0 man, 9-0 man.
We're at the start of a busy racing week once again. Let's dive into the Volta ao Algarve, a one-week stage race in Portugal. The start list isn't confirmed yet, but there are some interesting names on the provisional version, isn't it?
Yeah, very interesting. We're all expecting to see the superstars of Wout and Remco there if they turn up, if Wout turns up. But also, what interests me is the young guns. The young guns have really shined this year. Provisionally, Morgado's there, his home race. So yeah, he's going to be one to watch.
Let's dive a bit deeper into the riders participating in the race. Starting off with Bora Hansgrohe. The most important names are Dani Martinez and maybe Jordi Meus for the one sprint stage in there. What do you expect from Dani Martinez? It's his first race in Bora colors, isn't it? Or was he already in there last year?
The NC?
He joined them this season in 2024. So yeah, I'm interested to see how Dani Martinez will do it within Bora Hansgrohe.
I think he maybe was a podium, the GC in this race, in my opinion. The time trial as well, he is not that bad himself at time trial, is he? Let's be honest as well. There's an 8% punchy bit. You should like that.
Sergio Higuita and Maximilian Schachmann had a bit of a shocker season in 2023. It's their time to bounce back, and they can start immediately in Algarve. There are some punchy stages in there. Do you see some opportunities for Higuita to get close to a stage win?
I don't know, because Remco's there, isn't he? And Remco is just going to be a menace, let's be honest. The chances, EPO said that stage 5 is going to be one to watch if anyone is to get it, apart from Remco, if Remco has a big gap.
Yeah, I have to agree. We saw some other fast men on the start list, starting off with Arnaud Demar. Herben Thijssen is in there as well. I don't really know. I think all the stages are too difficult for Thijssen. Even the easier one is still pretty difficult with quite a lot of altitude meters. Same story for Demar. But yeah, it's top favorite Wout van Aert for 2 stages maybe.
Wow, definitely, for sure. Oh, Warren Schultz could be one to watch. I like Warren Schultz.
But didn't he crash in Almeria, if I remember correctly? I saw his his suit was quite
Yeah.
So let's
Or,
hope he doesn't have.
or Magnus Cort. How you know X?
Yeah, but doesn't it have to be a little bit harder? The stages, like he can get in the break in stage 5 and get that win maybe if the break gets freedom. But in a reduced bunch sprint, Magnus Cort can't beat Van Aert, I suppose.
He wouldn't be able to beat him, really, would he? Or the Auto de Foyer. I think that's the EPO said the headwind is going to be on there.
Yeah.
So maybe you could have a shout there. 2 stage wins last year from him as well in this race with the points classification. He said as well that he's been sick since Bessages. So yeah, be one to watch.
I wrote down some attacking minded riders as well. Start over Rui Costa. Then you have Ben Healy as well, who had a stellar season last year and has to show it's not a 1-year wonder, but probably not. Then Sheffield is back as well. I'm pretty excited to see him. Why? If I remember correctly, Josh mentioned he would make a shift towards being a GC rider. It's a pity, in my opinion, because the guy has a lot is promising in the classics. He has so much power. 2 years ago in Brabant Spel, or was it 1 year ago? He was so strong. But yeah, like EPO said, attackers don't really get chances in Algarve. But a lot will depend on Evenepoel and his advantage in the general classification.
Yeah, it's basically if Remco wants to be a menace, that's what I'm saying. He will be a menace. So.
And what about Sepp Kuss? He performed very strong in Jaén today. Does he get a GC chance in Algarve?
It depends on Wout, I think, in my opinion. It depends on the time trial as well. That's what I'd say.
Kuss or Vader? Because Vader was the leader in Tour Down Under. But they will surely play out Kuss.
Vader wasn't in particularly good form in Tour Down Under.
Yeah, he wasn't, but still they tried to use him as a leader there, so the team believes in
it. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Then Ineos, we already talked about Sheffield, but they are putting in a stellar team with Arendsman, Pidcock, Geraint Thomas, and then Ghana. That team is exceptionally strong, but who is their main leader is the question.
Pidcock, I'd say.
It's difficult. I don't know.
It's not like hard enough for Geraint Thomas, is it?
No, and Arendsman is more of a guy who needs a lot of kilometers to get his engine a bit warmer, and he maybe needs some longer climbs. Yeah, it could be Pidcock won a mountain bike race on Sunday, so the guy is so talented in everything he does. But I'm curious to see how he will develop as a GC rider because it's his big ambition. So I wonder what he's gonna show us in Algarve. Then Evenepoel, let's not talk about him right now. But then Tao Hagen Hart, his first race within little track colors. What do you expect from the Brit?
I'm expecting big things, really. I reckon in this race, a podium for him is on the cards. Time trial will be very nice for him as well. If he's able to produce the efforts after that long layoff as well, which is going to be interesting.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how he recovered from that nasty injury. It's his first racing competition kilometers. So I think it's most importantly important that he gets the right feeling back, the good feeling back, and just get used to riding in a peloton again. His big target is the Tour de France. Is he able to get on that podium in Paris or at the end of the tour?
Top 5, I'd say, is the threshold. Lidl's team is quite good, isn't it, now as
Yeah,
well?
yeah,
So he has a lot of domestique help as well there.
yeah.
But yeah, top 5, I'd say.
I'm curious to see how it will develop. Last but not least, we have UAE Team Emirates. Isaac Del Toro is added on the provisional list, I just noticed. It's only 1 hour ago he was added, so that's very interesting. Besides Del Toro, there is Baroncini, who I expect a lot from this season within UAE, and then Mark Hirschi. It's a team with a lot of quality, a lot of youngsters again, Del Toro / Morgado, but not their main leaders being Ayuso, Almeida, and Pogacar. They give a lot of chances to their young guns early season UAE.
Yeah, that's what I'm noticing as well. There's Morgado there, provisionally Jan Christen is. I
Yeah,
think this is his first race of the year. Another wonder kid out of about 20 for UAE, isn't it?
yeah, yeah. I love Isaac Del Toro, and I also love Morgado, and I hope Morgado gets his win pretty soon because the guy is so punchy, so good. I remember that sprint in the World, the junior against Herzog. That was insane. That sprint with that cadence, that's something that will stay in my mind for a long time.
Yeah, it was nice to see in the Figueroa Classic as well. He was doing attacking. The same in Tour Down Under as well. He
Yeah.
just never gives up, and I
Yeah.
like that from a rider.
Then maybe one more guy, Andreas Leknesund, is back within the Norwegian squad Uno X. What do you expect from him, from Andreas?
I'm not really sure, to be honest here, but a top 10, I'd say, for him.
Yeah, for me, he's quite an enigma. I don't know if it's a word in
Yeah,
English,
that's
but
what I mean.
he started his season in La Marseillaise, finished anonymously 40th, then went to Étoile de Bessèges, and his best result is 43rd in the second stage. The first stage was cancelled. So it's not like he has a stellar opening few races, but yeah, I don't know what to expect from him. It was a very nice transfer though for Uno X. Letnison showed he's pretty promising. He's a pretty good guy. So yeah, looking curious to see how it will go for him.
Yeah, especially as well. X like to attack, always on the
Yeah.
front of the peloton. So yeah, we're going to be seeing a lot of him, I think.
That are the most important names that I took out of the provisional starting list. Do you have some other names that we have to watch out for?
Jan Christen and Magnus Kort. Those are my 2 picks. I'm picking them too.
I remember you said in the group chat and on Discord, Lars Boven as well.
Lars Boven as well. Me and Dieter have been impressed by him. He's in some very nice form. He's in the Figueroa as well. He was in that bunch behind
fourth.
Remco. Yeah,
He was
very
fourth.
crazy. And then on Lofty, he was
Yeah,
again just displaying stuff that he shouldn't be doing, really.
yeah, he had a very good start of the season. He finished 6th in the second stage in Down Under, 3rd in the 4th stage, and then 10th on Lofty, and then 4th in the Figueira Champions Classic. So the guy is only 22 years old. I think Alpecin has a gem in their squad, and he's so strong. But in that team, we have the Zwift master Luca Vergalito. That guy, I adore him. I adore Zwift riders. Those guys are monsters. They can produce so much watt per kilo. That ratio is so high. I think Algarve is not difficult enough for Vergalito. I see him more as a really tough long climb, but I
It's
don't know him
yeah,
that good. So
it's a bit like the Tour Down Under when he was there. That's what I'd say.
yeah,
So yeah,
he in the Tour Down Under, he started quite slowly, but then on Mount Lofty he finished 15th. So, but he already has quite a lot of racing days. He started in Étoile de Bessèges as well, so he just wants to race a lot early season, I suppose.
That's what you want, though, really. Pick up the kilometers on the bike,
Yeah.
hit your fitness, and then go from there.
Besides the start list, the parcours has a healthy mix of everything. Sprinters most likely will get their chance on one occasion, maybe two, but I doubt it. And time trialist, god damn it, get a chance as well. How tough will this be? How tough will this 1 week stage race be?
For everyone else, apart from Remco, let's be honest, it's going to be very tough to beat him. I keep repeating myself, but yeah, it's impossible to beat him, I think, generally.
Yeah, he's the main favorite by a mile. Certainly after his 55k solo in Figueira, but still he has to do it. There are a couple of nasty stages in Algarve, but I have to agree he's the main favorite, and others have to come up with something to beat him. I don't know what or how, but they have to try something. The second stage consists of an uphill finish with the Alto de Foya, as earlier mentioned, a 7.5 kilometer climb with an average gradient of 5.9%. There is headwind predicted, so it will be difficult for the attackers. It doesn't look too hard neither. 5.9% average isn't sky high. But note that the last 35 kilometers go up and down with several classified climbs and a bonification sprint. Do you expect firework in that stage, and will we see some GC action for that bonification sprint close to the finish, or do you think most of the teams will ride quite defensively in the second stage?
I'd say defensive. They're just going to be waiting for the time trial, aren't they? Let's be honest. Or the teams who are not competing for the GC, let's say, they may try something, but the juice bunch up the hill.
But if you want to beat Remco Evenepoel in
You're going to have to do
Algarve,
something.
you have to use the stage.
I think Ineos will try something on this stage. That's what I think.
Oh, yeah, they have Pidcock, who's quite fast at the line as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope teams try to do something, because if they wait till the time trial, then Evenepoel is just gonna cruise towards the general classification win. So the penultimate stage is one for the strong time trialists. It's only 22 Ks, but it's quite lumpy with uphill sections of 8%. The big question is, who's gonna win? Evenepoel, Ganna, or maybe Bissiger?
It's Remco territory personally, especially after his effort on Saturday. That's his TT style effort there was. But Ganna, Ineos have a lot of guys there. Aronsman, if it was a bit longer for him, then it would be good for him. Stefan Kung is provisionally there.
Yeah.
Bissiger, he needs to do something this season, I think.
Wout van Aert? Pew.
Yeah.
You didn't think about that one. You didn't think about that one.
Wout against Remco.
Ooh.
I still think Wout would finish behind Ganna.
So then it's Remco, Ganna, Wout for you.
Yeah, and then Kung or Bissiger behind.
Interesting, because like the start list is pretty nice for the time trial. A lot of interesting names. Curious to see how it will turn out. Will this time trial be deciding for the general classification?
Considering the length of it, it's going to be enough to create big enough time gaps, I think. Yeah. And that is there's no particularly long climb that will create like a 2 minutes, 3 minutes, like in Oman where there's the Green Mountain coming up.
Yeah.
On Wednesday. I
have to agree. The race organizer in Portugal decided to end Algarve on a high, a mountaintop finish on Alto de Malhau a 2.5 kilometers climb with an average gradient of 9.8. That's hella steep, mate.
This hella steep. This could be for Step Kuss as well. I like a look at that. Step Kuss for this.
That's sexy. Like, the name pops up in my on my screen. Andrea Baggioli for Little Trek. The guy had a stellar autumn classic season at the end of 2023. Was very strong, and the stages in Algarve could suit him when he's lucky.
Yeah, I think so as well. It's all about if he follows the wheel, he'll be perfectly fine. Or if he wants to go on the attack.
Yeah. The build up towards that final climb, the Malhau is lumpy again from start to finish. EPO said it's might be the most interesting stage of the week. Some teams will try to go rogue and take the leader's jersey away from Soudal Quick-Step. Problem is Soudal Quick-Step is bringing provisionally a pretty strong squad with pretty strong, let's say very strong, with Cataneo, Knox, Landa, Seri, Van Heluwe and Vervaeke. This is almost their Grand Tour squad. Vervaeke gets in the Grand Tours, Landa, Cataneo. So all those guys are just there to protect Evenepoel at all costs.
He literally is like practice for the Tour de France, let's be honest.
Yeah. Besides Algarve, Ruta del Sol kicks off as well this week. I watched the provisional start lists, and it's gonna be mainly Bahrain victorious against UAE Team Emirates. Buitrago, Pouls, Caruso, Haik versus Ayuso, Wellens, Maika, and Soler. Do you expect Ayuso to be ready right from the gun? He started today in Jaén as well. Was dropped from the bunch in the finale. Do you think he's ready to fight for the Ruta del Sol GC win right away?
It's going to be very difficult with the riders out there. But personally, if I was to choose anyone out of there, Buitrago.
Yeah, he was very strong in, what was the race again?
Valenciana, yes.
Yeah, he was.
Up the, what was it called? That really, really steep climb behind McNulty and Vlasov. He was very impressive there. If he didn't get caught out on his radio, he probably could have done something.
Yeah. In the Ruta del Sol, Lorenzo Fortunato makes his debut for Astana, Kazakhstan. It's his first outing in World Tour Colors. What do you expect from Fortunato this season? It's not a guy we talked a lot about in earlier podcasts. He won a mighty stage in the Giro for Eolo Cometa 2 years ago. Do you expect him to break through within Astana and get a stage hunter in the high mountains? Or because his time trial is, sorry for the word, shit?
Stage hunter, in my opinion. That's what I'd go with.
So, like going for the KOM jersey in a Tour de France or something?
Yes, something along those lines, or just going for breakaway wins.
All right. Sorry, I lost it. As if 2 1-week stage races aren't enough, Tour des Alpes Maritimes du Var is on the menu as well. One thing I'm interested to see there, how will Padun perform in the colors of Coratec Vinifantini? Why did I pick out Padun? Because that guy might be the weirdest cyclist I know in the current peloton. He has once in a year a crazy exploit that you say that guy is insane, but besides that one performance, he performs literally nothing. So
that's what I was gonna say, as well, because ever since the 2021 Tour de France, that guy was in I don't know how many breakaways, maybe 10 minimum. He just you'd always see him there. And but you've not really heard of him since.
No, I heard I read an article last year saying he has trouble with keeping his weight low enough. That is difficult for him to keep that weight as low. So yeah, maybe it's a mental thing. Of course, he's Ukrainian, so it's probably not easy to be Ukrainian at this moment for the last couple of years. But like last year, he was strong in Coppi Bartali, where Healy won, or Schmidt won, apologies, but Healy was very strong as well. And then I remember, which year was it again from Podun, that he went crazy in a time trial, Gran Camino 2022. That time trial was 15.8 kilometers long and 208 altitude meters, and just the guy won that time trial. That was so weird. I don't know what his odds was on the betting sites, but probably quite high.
Yeah, as the word you were saying earlier, he's an enigma.
Yeah, it's let's hope he finds his form back in the colors of Coratec Fini Fantini. Anything you want to add, Ethan, for today's Domestique Cycling Podcast?
Luke Lamberty and Tour of Oman. That's all I have to say is, he has produced some crazy efforts, and I'm now seeing people tip him for Milan San Remo.
Yeah. What about Paul Magnier, that guy as well?
He is crazy. Ever since Dieter told me about him, I was like, I'm invested in him now. He looks like he just looks like a kid, doesn't he?
6 weeks ago, let's be honest, who was Paul Magnier? I didn't know him. You really had to be a strong fan and really had to look into the junior ranks to know who he was. But that guy and the watts he produced, Dieter posted a thread again, or a post on our Domestique account. Those watts to get that win earlier today on the 12th of February, that was insane. That guy
is crazy, and it's a compliment to all of Quick-Step's recruitment, really. They've got it spot on.
Yeah. There were a lot of doubts about the Soudal Quick-Step squad, that they lost a lot of quality, but like we only did 12th of February, and Soudal Quick-Step surprised me massively.
Surprised everyone, haven't they?
Yeah. It's very nice to see.
It's nice to see as well. The classics are going to be interesting to watch for them with those riders they have there.
One last thing I want to add is Lotte Kopecky is a climber. How can I compare that? Lotte Kopecky is known as someone who's very strong in the Flemish classics, in the Ronde van Vlaanderen, etc. And she said at the start of the season, I want to discover myself as a climber. So a climb 10, 15 Ks long and see how far I get. In the UAE Tour Women, the penultimate stage there was an uphill finish. And I think the main favorite that day was Gaia Realini. She weighs less than 50 kilos, I assume. And Kopecky with her composition of her body that's completely different than a climber, just out-climbed everyone. It gave me a little bit of Wout van Aert vibes on Vontu. It's like you can compare it with that performance.
Was it on her head or her feet?
Yeah. That's insane, and she says she wants to try and do something in Tour de France Femmes. She did pretty well, let's say in 2023. Only Vollering got in front of her for the yellow jersey. So I'm really curious to see what she will do climbing wise this season. It's an important year for her as well with the Olympics on the track. So a lot of interesting things already in this early season, in those first weeks. So let's dive right into it.
Keeps on coming, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's
keeps flying.
Insane.
Omloop is next Sunday. not this one, next one. So yeah,
Ooh,
I can't wait.
Kuurne Brussel Kuurne is in that weekend as well. Whew.
It's
Yeah.
flying, and then only a few more until the Ronde. I'll be roadside at the Ronde at the finish line. I can't wait for that.
Oh, that's gonna be insane. That's gonna be insane, mate. It will be a crazy atmosphere.
As Pedersen win, we will be there.
All right, so we know who's.
I have to talk
your
about that
pick,
as well.
Who your pick is?
I
Mats
have to talk
Pedersen.
about
Yeah.
Mads Pedersen, what he did this week. That's one more thing.
Yeah, go ahead. What did Mats Pedersen do?
Just annihilation. That win he did on his third win. Oh,
He's
Marco Frigo was alone. I think the 10 kilometers, and then Mads Pedersen was in the chasing group behind and just clawing it back with no help. No one was helping him. It got to like 1 kilometer to go. Marco Frigo looked like he was going to win, but Mads Pedersen was on the front. It was like a fishing hook, reeling him in, and then he just goes boom and beats Axel Zingel in the sprint as well. It was one of the
I have
crazy
to be
things.
honest, it gave me some Mathieu van der Poel vibes in the Amsterdam Gold Race.
I believe that as well. I was instantly flashback to that.
Yeah, doing all the work, crawling the front guy in, and then do such a sprint after such a hard day. Yeah, the guy is in a crazy form, but he's always very strong in those French opening races. The guy, I think his base level, he's very good a whole season long. Like last year, we saw him from the French opening class races in Bessèges till the Worlds. He was there. He was so good. So let's hope he can peak at the right moment and be in the mix for the win in the Ronde van Vlaanderen or Roubaix. I think he will be happy with one of the two.
If he was to choose one, I'd say you'd choose Roubaix, wouldn't it? I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And he could definitely win that easily.
Yeah. If he has the luck on his side, then he's a strong contender for the Paris-Roubaix win.
You need a lot of luck in Paris-Roubaix.
Yeah.
As I know, playing Pro Cycling Manager, as always, I can never win that race. Paris-Roubaix is horrible.
Maybe one last thing. I think it's our third last thing or fourth last thing. Oyer Lascano, Jaén. What did the guy do? He went in attack mode pretty early, and then just didn't want the peloton to come back and solo towards the win. It's his third professional win, if I recall correctly, and it's third time he finishes solo. What about him and Paris-Roubaix?
The peloton was a bit stupid today, let's be honest, wasn't it? Giving him all of that space. You see him up the road, and then they're like, what? But his Paris-Roubaix chances now have gone down like off a cliff. They're not going to let him go, are they? But Movistar has been somehow getting everything spot on. I don't understand what's going on.
Well, I don't think they're making a Netflix series this season, so probably that's why they're doing it right this time.
Yeah, they're actually doing things. It's what you like to see. If only Quintana can do it. But yeah.
They had a pretty strong season with Will Barta taking that breakaway win as well, and Aramburu showing some good form early season.
As well, Ivan Romeo as well for Movistar.
Yeah.
20 years old. He's been a guy to watch.
Yeah, I have to agree. All right, see you next time for another Domestique Cycling Podcast. A big thank you to our audience for tuning in. If you enjoyed the episode, consider supporting us on Ko-Fi. Link is in the description. And if you're on YouTube, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. We appreciate your support and look forward to seeing you next time. Adios.
Thank you.
I've got the spores, the sickness. There's the twins in my brain.